I got a lot of inspiration from martial arts, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, but also you can say Kung Fu, sticky arms, where you have this type of position with your wrist. Something that I can stimulate, for example, here by gripping the mace as such. So here is a mace flow curl. So this is a type of a curl where I'm doing a circular pattern with the mace. Is always the same here in the front of my body, essentially going this way, but I can perform at any point I want this type of a switch. So going from more of a supinated forearm position into here where it's more pronated. And this allows me to just hammer so many different areas of my arm, of the forearm. We can talk about the brachioradials, of course, your biceps, but the brachialis as well. And even you're training your rotator cuff to an extent, which is rotational motion. It is an exercise that I quite recently discovered or invented, created for myself, because I got a lot of inspiration from martial arts, mixed martial arts, Muay Thai, but also you can say Kung Fu, sticky arms, where you have this type of position with your wrist. So it's not completely this neutral position, but it's a little bit bent. And something that I can stimulate, for example, here by gripping the mace as such. Even in this position, I have more bent wrist than completely straight. So this position, why it's important or why I can utilize it, oftentimes controlling your opponent, same thing even in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in grappling, you have these different positions where the wrist is more or less a little bit bent. And especially in a clinching position where you're sometimes controlling your opponent's arms from the inside, but you can also pummel to the outside. So you have different positions here. If I pummel to the outside, I can try to get to this underhook, then again, going inside, I can try to go to an overhook. So these, maybe if you don't do any grappling or you don't do any wrestling, are not so clear terms for you. But all you need to understand is that all of these different combat, let's say, applications, a lot of times they involve your arms in more or less, or the forearms in a bent position. And so this curl with the mace, and doing it in this type of flow pattern, it doesn't just involve training of the actual forearm flexors in your upper arm, but the grip and also your forearm muscles are constantly involved in different varying angles. So we can take a look at just how to perform this. So you can start by just holding it in a very neutral position here, but the key is that I want to have the handle always be close to my forearm, preferably touching. Now it can sometimes naturally come a little bit off from your forearm, but that is where I want to keep it. Now from this position, you can just start to already perform this type of a curling motion while stabilizing that bar close here. So the training on your, really on the even here, the ulnar deviators is very intense, just holding and stabilizing the bar to your forearm. Now, if you want to perform the switch, I will do this. I go here and it rotates the end of the bar to the other side. So from this position, I curl it up and just let the bar naturally go and flow here on top of my forearm. And now I'm in a more supinated position. With the other arm, here, I rotate, boom. Now, as this bar here is moving the handle, it can be a bit awkward at first, and you might feel like you're gonna hit yourself. And it's quite all right, especially in the beginning, before really getting the hang of it. Just help a little bit so you don't accidentally hit yourself in the jaw or chin with it. It makes really no difference. So here, I'm stabilizing, and I let it then come off so I can rotate it here. Now I'm in the supinate position. And now I can perform the same curl here. I can do both directions. And this gets very quickly very intense, because you're not really just working that bicep in an isolation, you're working multiple areas of your upper arm, multiple areas of your forearm at the same time simultaneously, and this leads to much greater fatigue than you would just get with the basic bicep curl alone. So one of the actually key elements here is that because the handle is here and it's a bit awkward, so especially in the beginning, you will perform this with a bit more control and slowness. So you don't just go super quickly, wringing it like quickly, like this way, jerking the weight here or there. You can perform it like that, but especially at the beginning, you'll notice that the slowness produces very, very good results, and you don't need to hurry anywhere. Working on really a good volume with this allows you to develop very, very, I'd say, iron-like strength and endurance and really solid grippiness into your arm and into your forearm. And there's no specific rule when you need to perform the switch, but as long as you're rotating the end of the mace to one direction or another, you're gonna be getting results. I advise that you go until you start to feel a significant fatigue, which shouldn't take too much time. And not only that, after you really get comfortable with this one, you can then start to also perform different type of flow patterns here as well, freely going here, rotating, and so on. And that is tremendous work for your arms. So I recommend this flowing curl variation over basic bicep curls is for all the reasons that I mentioned here. First, you are getting a very thorough workout for nearly all of your arm and forearm muscles, and you're also getting that direct functional articulation that can benefit you in many different combat sports. Mace training does involve always skill. Skill is one of its elements. You need to actually learn to utilize the mace. But this is not where my methodology ends. This is only where it starts. So all my training is internal based. And at the end of it, it's not about mastering and getting endlessly better at learning these different skills and different swings with the mace, or always increasing the weight of the clubs or the maces. This is not really the goal. The goal is always to develop the body to the best of your ability. And this is internal based in our methodology. So this means that we are focusing on really building usable functional strength in our arms, in our limbs, not just learning a pattern as moving the mace in a beautiful way. That is also part of it, but in the end we are interested and we're really focused and we are invested in developing functional strength. And one of the reasons that probably not all people develop all these drills is that they initially don't have the experience or touch in these very multidimensional and dynamic sports such as martial arts. This has been a big inspiration for me to develop different skills further and further, or different strength exercises and skills, because you just encounter so many different challenging positions for your body, and you realize that just going in these single one-dimensional unilateral patterns is not enough, not even nearly enough to develop the body to its fullest extent. So always remember that the internal approach into the training, ultimately, we're building up the body. We're not just learning skills for the sake of skills, but we are learning skills and these different exercises in order to best develop our body. And this is the internal approach.